people, today I want to talk about arpeggios. Now that you learned them, there's so much to discover, and I'm just showing you how you can sort of break out of the box of the 5 arpeggio patterns and learn a lot about your fretboard and gain much more freedom, but also how arpeggios and chords are really connected, also how you can use those shapes to find new chord voicings. So let's start with this G7 arpeggio and we explore everything coming from this arpeggio. So in the beginning, just shift along the shape of your arpeggio, like you're shifting along the shapes of your chords, right? I really like to transpose stuff. It's a great exercise in general, but also it helps me hear. It's like hearing the same thing from a different perspective. And then I'm thinking, where is the box for the B flat 7 arpeggio in this 3rd position, right? Because I'm playing the G here. And I want to play the B flat 7 here and stop shifting, stop letting the fretboard dictate what I'm playing, so I can start on the A flat. And in this way I can just like practice connecting those 2 shapes without changing the position. That's what's so great about arpeggios. You're going to outline the chords that you're playing in your solo. You don't necessarily need to play the chords anymore. You can improvise on your own because you can think about chords as sort of frozen arpeggios if you want to. So when you play the arpeggio, really check out what you're doing, right? You have the 1, 3, 5, flat 7, 1, 3, 5, flat 7, 1, right? And also the name of the notes, G, B, D, F, right? Only 4 notes because our basic G7 chord also only consists of 4 notes, and for the moment that's all we want. So that's basically why it's a very good idea to learn all your arpeggios across the fretboard, because it will give you the freedom to improvise where you are at the moment. And that's a lot of work, of course, so I want to take a step back for a moment and think about the fretboard in general. One exercise that I really like to do with my students, and that is really great, is to look at the octaves. So let's check out all the G's on the fretboard. And then let's draw a fretboard of the guitar with all the frets and all those G's. And now we have an overview over the entire fretboard. And of course we can shift those octaves around like we do with all our patterns on the fretboard. So let's, for example, if I would be playing the B flat or the B flats on the fretboard, I would try to always start very low and then play the B flats. Or maybe all the A's. And just to visualize like a spider web that I am, like, you know, stretching across my fretboard. And those octaves always stay the same no matter what scale you play, right? And then we can see all the notes that we play in relationship to the octaves, right? For example, the G in relationship to the B. This is a major 3rd. It looks always like this, except between the G and the B string, right? And then we can visualize a major 3rd on our fretboard, or we can visualize a flat 7. Or maybe a 5. Right? And just put all the notes of the arpeggio on this sheet of paper and have a look what kind of shapes you can find, because now it's getting really interesting. We're having like a bird's eye view of the fretboard, and we can just pick parts of the arpeggio and build chords. And one part of the G7 arpeggio, which is of course very, very important, is the flat 7 and the 3rd because together they form the tritone, right? And the tritone is sort of at the essence of a dominant 7th chord. So we can have a look here with our G7 arpeggio. Here is the 3rd and here is the 7th. So we're having like a chord shape really low. And then we can just look, maybe we play an A here. That would be a G7 9 or a G7 flat sharp 9 or G7, G7. And then we can also look, can we find the tritone in other places in this shape, right? Maybe here. We can add a 13, flat 13, 5. All the time, leaving the tritone at its center. All of a sudden, it's not about fingerings anymore, but it's where are the notes and what can we do with them. And that's sort of the ultimative freedom, right? So all your long form arpeggios, all the arpeggios that you ever learned, they're sort of in here, right? And you can just like find your own stuff that you're playing. And one other thing that is really great about arpeggios is if you see the chord symbol, you can just like play the arpeggio without thinking about the scale, right? Like I said in the beginning, the chord is like a frozen arpeggio and you will already outline the chord changes very good. If you play the arpeggio, you don't have to think so much about scales and stuff. By the way, I'm working on a live online course that's going to start beginning of September and it's going to take place on Saturday evenings. I don't know how many evenings yet. It's going to be sort of a beginner jazz improvisation course, but also with a lot of sounds that sound cool. So I want to really explain the basics, but also want to explore a lot of stuff. And if you're interested, in the description box below, just click on the link, then you get on my list and you just get information about this course. If you know where your stuff are, where's your 3rd and your 7th, you take the guesswork out. And then you can make changes and just like really play very detailed with a lot of love for each and every note. Less is really more. You don't have to play a lot, but just like really mean the notes that you're playing.